Hey there, Captain Chris German coming to you from the Charted Life Studios in Morehead City. I am actually coming to this special report because we have uncovered new information about the Barden Inlet closing that was not covered in our show last night on Conversations at the Helm. So stay tuned because I'm going to give you all the skinny on what's happened, which we did not cover in our interview last night, which may change your opinion on this because it certainly changed mine. Here we go. Hey there, lads and ladies, children of all ages. Guess what we found out? We asked them for the press release yesterday, and it was not given to us immediately, but we did have a very nice interview with Chief Winters over there at the Fort Macon base. And this was a little wrinkle that they didn't mention, and I felt that it was very important in terms of our editorial honesty that we republish this thing and come back on live today and follow up on this thing because this changes the story a lot. Let me tell you what I found, and I'll start by reading the press release which was shared on Facebook just now, and you need to know about this. U.S. Coast Guard proposal to remove aids to navigation Barden Inlet. Due to significant shoaling between Barden Inlet Buoy 8 and Barden Inlet Light 35, the U.S. Coast Guard is proposing to permanently discontinue 21 aids to navigation, almost all the remaining markers in the area. This is the part that chafes me. Captains licensed by the United States Coast Guard would be operating in non-navigable channels and would be subject to loss of their license should there be any kind of accident involving a ferry or tour service. In a recent meeting with the U.S. Coast Guard suggested this proposal would also affect insurance rates for companies operating in that area. Cape Lookout National Seashore is the only accessible by boat, and Barden Inlet, a federally mandated channel, is the main access. This proposal would affect National Park Service authorized ferry and tour services to over 120,000 visitors and affect about 100,000 recreational boat visitors. Our authorized passenger ferry service to Cape Lookout Lighthouse and Shackleford Banks has suggested that if this happens, they would have no choice but to continue service to the park. Interested mariners and other stakeholders are strongly encouraged to comment on the potential impacts this proposal would have on navigational safety. You may provide feedback using the U.S. Coast Guard 5th District Waterway data sheet available at https://5th Coast Guard District Special. We'll put that thing up there on the website. All comments will be carefully considered and are requested prior to May 6th, 2019. That's next week. To be considered in the analysis, refer to project number 0519029D and send comments to CGD5 waterways at uscoastguard.mil. So all of this is up on our website right now. You can find it on the Charted Life TV link, www.thechartedlife.net/TV. And you can get all of these email addresses, and all these links are on our page on the website. But we've opened up the channel right now for the next, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. And I did not tell Jennifer to get the phones up and going. But if you want to message us on Facebook and tell us what you think, this is a great time to start the conversation. All you captains out there, I'm a captain. I make my life off the water. And guess what? You don't have a job. You hurt yourself, or boat gets hurt out there, they're going to take your license. How many people around this area have a captain's license and built their business on going through those waters at Barden Inlet, and you will lose your license if something goes wrong? Not least of which, you're going to lose your ability to be able to afford insurance, because having this regulation put in there is going to double or triple your insurance rates potentially. So, what do you think? Now do you think they should close Barden's Inlet? Most of the people last night when we were talking at Conversations at the Helm said, no, we don't want you to close that. But this changes my opinion seriously. Maybe 33 years ago, it wasn't a navigable waterway, but we turned it into one, and we made it the lifeblood of this community. And all of a sudden, the Coast Guard says it's too shallow, and the government's saying there's not enough money to keep it open. So guess what? Take a collection, pass the hat around Congress, and let's get that channel dredged now. This program is firmly now on the side of keep the people open, and we will be covering this story. We will be attending all the public hearings, and we will be following up on this because you people deserve to know. This is the lifeblood of this community. They already put a bunch of people out of business when they restricted the number of ferries that could access Shackelford Banks a couple years ago. And now they're going to put the rest of them out of business by saying there's not enough money to dig a ditch out there to Shackelford Banks and Cape Lookout Lighthouse. So, I guess everybody's busy with work today, so not a lot of people commenting, and I just had lunch and it's still swallowing, so I'm sorry if I'm not talking totally accurately, but I do think this is something we need to talk about as a community. This is something that really needs to be brought out there, and I would appreciate anybody want to share this post or share this information with the world. This is what's going to happen if they get the okay to discontinue use of that channel. So, National Park Service, dig it out. If you're the one that's going to be in that park, that's going to ruin the park. Shackelford Light is going to be shut down eventually if this comes through. That's my prediction. It's not in there, and the National Park's not saying that they're shutting down the park, but if nobody can get out there on a boat because they can't afford insurance and they can't afford the captain's license, then guess what? Nobody's going to go out there except for the few people around here that have boats and can get out there. What do you think about that? So, for the Charted Life, I'm Captain Chris German. We now have a couple of people that are watching the Facebook feed. Feel free to comment on Facebook. And for the next couple of minutes, we're going to go for another couple minutes on this feed. And please give us your opinion. Should they shut down Barden's Inlet now? Should they take all the marks out of there except for the most outer marks out there and turn it into a exclusively luxury playground out there, because you're not going to be able to get out to that thing with the ferry service anymore. You're going to have to buy your own boat to go out there. And don't have a license if you're on a private boat, by the way, because we were just talking about this before we came on air, that my license, if I take my wife out there on my boat, even if she's not paying me as a captain, I am not going to be able to go out there, because guess what? If I get into an accident, I have to disclose that I have a license, and I'll lose my license out there. So, this is also really hard on the ferry and tour services that are going out there. So, maybe the public can go out there if they want to, but if you don't have a boat, you're not getting out to Cape Lookout. And then less people get to Cape Lookout. The users go way down and they say, well, nobody's going to Cape Lookout anymore. So why do we fund that lighthouse? And the National Park Service loses their funding for the lighthouse. And the lighthouse closes down. And then they sell it through the GSA. And private people come and buy that lighthouse. And guess what? They say it's $1,000 to stay there on the weekend. That's what they did at Frying Pan Shoals Light out there. That's a private lighthouse. That's what they've also done at all the lighthouses of Maine, and they're doing them up and down the seaboard to all the other lighthouses. So if you can't get to the lighthouse, this is not just a question of can you get in and out of that little S turn? And that's what I was made to believe yesterday. That's not the case. And I totally misrepresented it last night based upon the interview that I had with the Coast Guard. So I am very sorry, and I needed to correct myself publicly. So please forgive me for not having that. And I also hold you guys responsible a little bit because you were viewing this and you didn't correct me. I had the phones open all night last night and you didn't say anything about me being wrong on this thing. This is why we were supposed to have a conversation so that this information could be passed between each other. So next week, for Conversations at the Helm, if I'm completely off base, call me up and yell at me and tell me where I'm wrong. I'm open to criticism, but this information that's just been posted, I really wish somebody had told me this last night, but I found out today, and everyone, let's get those comments in. May 6th, the Army Corps of Engineers is going to do a hydrographic survey out there, and we need to find the money from the federal government to reopen Barden's Inlet and make it accessible for everyone. That's the real story, and that's what I should have been reporting last night. So, if nobody wants to comment on this report, if nobody's got anything to say, clearly I have lots of things to say. Everybody wants to hear Chris talk. Well, that's all I got for today. Conversations at the Helm rides again next Thursday. Check out Sunday night, 8 o'clock. We're going to rebroadcast last night's episode and this live feed as well after that episode. We're going to put it all out there. And feel free to comment and share all that too. And, of course, thank you to our sponsors of this broadcast, TK Trailer. Out of Texas, you guys survived the tornado, and you got your ad to us. Thank you so much for your sponsorship. And make sure, if you're building a trailer, if you need to have any kind of parts for a trailer, they do it all. Thank you, TK Trailer. That's all I got for today. Jennifer, go ahead and hit that close, and let's move on. Thank you so much for watching.